You understand English, but when the phone rings, do you panic? Don't worry. In this video, we'll show you exactly how to speak confidently on phone calls. And here we have Vinita to share her experience with us. Hey, welcome back. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too. Thank you. Thanks for asking. I'd like to begin our conversation with this question first. Tell us,
Okay.
how did you learn to speak on phone calls confidently?
I'm assuming, Sudhakar, we're talking about work calls, right? So, as I mentioned in one of the previous episodes, I did goof up my first client call. I was extremely nervous. I was stuttering, and I realized the client was, noting it, but he didn't make a big deal out of it. He was gracious enough to not focus on my nervousness, and thankfully, it didn't become too embarrassing. But I realized how important it is, to prepare for such calls. And I think there are three things I would like to point to how to be confident on calls, right? So the first thing is the intent of the call. You should be aware of what is the call being held for. The second probably is the audience. So you know whether you should be too formal or a little casual is fine. So you can, adjust your content accordingly. And the time you have to present your ideas or to present your points and accordingly prepare to, suit those three criterias. I think if we take care of that, we should be able to, present in calls confidently. And yeah, I mean, there are some instances where I'd write a storyline too. So let's say I literally have just 2 minutes to present like a big summary, right? So then I will sometimes have a storyline prepared on a notepad to refer to so I don't get lost and I don't go off track.
That's a very detailed answer. I like the
Thank you.
vocabularies used and the train of thoughts. And do you have any suggestions about the most frequently used sentences, or do you have any such sentences that you use often?
Not really, but I do have certain tips and tricks for calls. On work calls, right? It tends to get a little formal and to the point, because it's a virtual setting, we want to make sure we are done in time. But I think to just make it a little easier to have the conversation, it is good idea to utilize the first minute while we wait for everyone to join to do some ice breaking conversation, right? So something about, in case you know the person you're talking to, you know their interests, etc. So you can talk something about that before you get into work. And let's say you've organized the call, right? So it is important that you have provided enough context in the invite. And even after doing that, it is a good idea to utilize the first few minutes to explain that again. So, the conversation remains focused. So I think there are certain such tips and tricks. I mean, we can go a little bit in detail if you would like me to.
Of course, yeah, definitely. Why not? So, give us some tips about the phone call communication. Say, for example, I pick up some customer call, and the moment I hear them speak English, I might panic. I wouldn't know how to respond. So, do you have any tips for that?
Yes, I think we tend to get into a lot of calls with customers who are not native English speakers either. So you will see both parties struggle sometimes, in English. So I don't think we should be so worried about the right words and, the grammar of it. But it's important to focus on the intent or the outcome required from the call, right? So as long as with the client, you're solving a problem that the client is mentioning, I don't think we'll be focusing too much on the words used. Of course, there has to be a good, respectful tone, and we have to keep it a little formal. But it's important to focus on the intent of the call or the outcome, expected outcome on the call.
Brilliant.
And
Thanks
there
for
are
that. Yes.
certain
Go ahead,
yeah,
please.
there are certain instances where you will face certain tricky situations. So let's say the conversation that you intended to do on the call is getting derailed. Let's say it's some other topic comes up and the audience starts discussing that. So you can politely interrupt the customer or whoever it is that is taking the conversation off track. You can say something like, although I value these insights, this doesn't align with the purpose of the call. So can we get back on, the topics that we wanted to discuss? And let's say the member continues to highlight the importance of it. You could give them a few minutes depending upon whether you have the time. If not, you could say something like, could you please conclude what you're saying in the next 2 minutes? If not, I will schedule a separate meeting for this. So some of such, polite sentences to interrupt probably are a good idea to prepare for, just in case, you face this situation where the conversation goes off track.
So, may I summarize it like this? And to verify if my understanding is correct, don't focus on perfect grammar. Focus on the intent. Don't over explain. Make it simple. And
Yes.
traction.
Yes.
If the topic derails, have a control over the topic and bring the client or the other person back to the topic. Is that correct?
Yes, that is right. And you could prepare a few sentences to help you do so. Because when such situations happen, we panic. And in panic,
Hmm.
we might give off a wrong tone. So if you have some such sentences ready, like I mentioned, that you could politely interrupt to say, let's get back, on track. It'll help you.
Yep, I agree. So, yeah, these are wonderful points, and I can't wait to catch up with you again in the next session so we can discuss in detail about more such ideas and strategical points for
Yes.
improving our communication. Yeah, that's it for this episode. I'll see you soon in the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you.